It's March 17th, 2018, and you're looking at a recent acquisition. This is an Admiral 30C1, and it's in fairly good condition. I've already tested the CRT in it, and it'll give a picture, but the CRT is not very strong. But it does go up into the green, and it will give a picture. But more importantly, this is probably going to be the last television that I attempt to restore. I've restored 2 Zenith porthole sets. Now the reason I make videos is not really to show off, because I don't think I have anything special to show off, but to share anything I'm interested in with friends. And more importantly, the reason I make videos is to just have a personal video diary of who I am and what I do, because maybe someday there'll be a family member or somebody interested enough to know who I was and what I did. But anyways, this Admiral is going to get restored sometime. I don't know if I'll make a video of the progress or not, but I certainly will make one when it's done. But this is probably going to be maybe the last TV I ever attempt to restore. Now here I am in my shop, and this first chassis you see is the 1948 Silvertone chassis out of the console I got a while back. Anybody that may have been following, I don't think I have many people that really follow my videos, and of course that's not important to me. If there is anybody that enjoys seeing this, I'm gratified or grateful about that, but anybody who has looked at my videos knows that this is a very difficult set, because it had been worked on by someone else and it has a replacement transformer that really doesn't match. I've got some parts ordered for it, and some resistors and stuff, and I'm going to finish recapping it, and I may get it back together with a test CRT just to see if I made any progress. But if I hadn't done very well with it, I'm probably going to put it back in the cabinet as it is and just be done with it. Here's another one of my old sets, the Hampton, the Dumont Hampton, I think a 59, possibly 1960. The Sam's folder says 1960, but according to what I've been researching, I'm thinking it's closer to probably have been manufactured and sold in 1959. That set works, except that the horizontal runs crazy. I'm going to do a repair on it, and if I get the set working after I do a repair, that's as far as I'm going to go with this set. Now here is the main purpose of this video. I picked up a Stromberg Carlson TV12 maybe a year or two, maybe a couple years ago, I don't remember. And if anybody, again, like I say, if anybody's actually looked at my videos, you might remember that the inductuner was typically broken. Now I got this one from eBay. It's kind of tarnished. I'm sure that inside the induct part of it works okay. It's certainly not broken, as you can see, but there's some differences. The dial on it, this is probably for a Dumont television, and the dial is much different than this dial, so I'm going to have to put this dial on the shaft of that. I'll try to see if I can mechanically pre-tune it the way it should be. I'm going to install it on the chassis of this Stromberg Carlson, but what I'm going to do is once I'm not going to even probably solder in the wires. I'll just leave the wires loose. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this set sit for at that point. Someday I may end up selling it, who knows, but I'm not sure if I'll ever really get to restoring it. And the reason I say that, the reason I got the Admiral that you saw in the first part of this video, is that Admiral is very much like the Admiral that my father bought in 1952. It was a television that I remember watching between 1952 and 1956. My dad, of course, bought it used, and that set, once it was set up, actually worked for us faithfully. So the one that I have in the other room, I got that primarily as a remembrance of the early days of my childhood when I watched television on our original old Admiral. This set, of course, doesn't represent that, except that it was made in 1947, and that's the year I was born. I really don't think I'll ever get to restoring this set. And the reason I say that is because I turned 70 at the end of last year. I'm retired, and I see my retirement funds rapidly draining away. I have some dental expenses coming up in about 3 months that are going to be somewhat expensive, and I have to pay that out of pocket. It's for us seniors who are retired and who didn't have a beautiful portfolio of money in the bank, which I didn't, because for one thing I took a real big cut in 2008 of what I did have, and so I'm living a little bit off of what I have left. I can't afford to support many more hobbies. I have a horse and dogs, and I do some work on the side that supports that, but as time goes by, I don't know what I'm going to all be able to afford. So I'm going to kind of clean up what I got started with my television interest. When I'm done with that, I may keep a couple sets. I may get rid of some stuff. But I think I'm pretty much going to be done with doing any of this electronic restoration, because it's going to be more expensive than I can dole out. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to see if I can get this tuner back together and swap it out with the broken one that's in there, put this back in the console, and then maybe I'll try to see if I can find a nice place in my house to kind of just set it so it looks nice, just sitting there. So this is what I've done so far. I've taken the old dials off of this inductuner and put the original from the Stromberg Carlson on. I believe I have it calibrated right according to how the old one was. The 104 at the top and then the channel 4 at the bottom when it's turned all the way clockwise. That's how the other one was. So I'm pretty sure that's the same. The outside of this inductuner is a little corroded, but I've opened it up and looked at the porcelain shaft and tuner mechanism, and it's all good inside. It really is. So, and then I'm going to take this old one off. I cut the wires, and I labeled two. This said red wire bottom lug, black stripe top lug, red wire bottom lug. That'll match up with these wires. There's one wire that goes through it, the chassis, when this comes off. I'll just cut it, and then I'll remount this back on and get it ready to kind of clean up a little bit of this and then get it ready to go back in the cabinet. So here's where I'm at so far. I've got the replacement inductuner mounted. Now there's a black wire that comes through the center that goes through a hole. I neatly clipped off the one from here and left it just loose under the chassis, and of course the black wire that's attached to this one is going through that hole, and that way if I ever get to working on this thing, I'll know where all these wires go. Here are the parts of the old one, the one that came off, and of course the dials, these dials are from the replacement one. They're from a Dumont. I assume it came off a Dumont set. So basically I'm pretty much all set to maybe clean this up just a little bit and get it back into the cabinet and set it somewhere, and then I'll be done with this for a while, maybe forever. I don't know if I'll ever get to this. If I don't, maybe somebody else will. I'll be putting it in the cabinet. And here is the bag of the old broken inductuner stuff. The tuning discs in there are good. Someone could use those. But of course the rest of the tuner is broken. But all the parts are in this bag. They're all there. The replacement one is installed on the chassis in the cabinet, as I will soon show you. Here, by the way, sits the empty console to my Silvertone, my 1948 Silvertone set that I had been kind of struggling with. I have ordered some more parts for it. Some 2 watt and 1 watt resistors that I didn't have, and a few more capacitors. And I will continue to try to at least see if I can get the set operating better than it was when I got it. It was really butchered up. So this is a project still in the works. If I don't get it operating well, I'll probably put it back. I'll put it back together, put the chassis back in the cabinet, and let that set for some other plan, I would say, some future plan for it. And finally, here's my Stromberg Carlson TV12 console all put back together. And what I accomplished today was to take the broken inductuner off, put the new one on. This one works real well. It's all together. I'm not holding my camera very well. Of course, there's no light to really see the action. But from what I've been told, or I read somewhere, these are very easily broken. All you have to do is just move this or hit it. I really need to learn to hold this camera right. To hit it on the side just right, and you'll bust that porcelain rod that goes through the inductuner. So, of course, I didn't connect up the wires or anything because this is an unfinished project. I just wanted to get it back together. It's a nice looking little console, isn't it? If you looked at it, you would swear it's a Dumont. Everything in it looks to be Dumont. I'm not into antique televisions or vintage televisions. I should say enough to make decisive determinations on some of this stuff. But it's all together. Chassis is all bolted back in real nice. It's in my house now to stay somewhere. I have no idea where I'm going to actually end up stashing it. I want to get this set rebuilt because it was built in the year I was born, 1947. And it's just a cute little set. So I think that this set should be restored. I don't know how I'll do that. Maybe if I can finance it somehow, I'll see if I can find an expert, a real expert, that is more expert than I am to restore it. But for now, it's going to just sit. Here's a set that I really want to get going next, if I can. And that's my Admiral 30C1. And I think I can tackle this. I've been watching Bob Anderson's videos, and the only thing that I don't have that Bob has is I don't have his good test equipment, his generators, marker generators. I don't have any of that stuff on my bench. I don't even have a decent oscilloscope. I have nothing like that. So what I'll probably end up doing is shotgunning that together and seeing if I can at least get a picture on it. The two Zenith porthole sets that I did get working, my Tennyson and my Wadsworth, they work, but I don't think they work as well as they would if, say, Bob Anderson had restored them, because I just didn't take the time to do all the alignments and check through the circuitry. And of course I'm stymied because I don't possess the equipment, and I really can't afford to buy that stuff. It's kind of now expensive on eBay. This had to come out of my shop, and the reason it had to come out of my shop is I need the room to be able to manipulate two other televisions. My Dumont Hampton I need to get positioned so that I can repair it. I'm not going to restore it. It does work, It just needs the horizontal repaired, and I think it'll be fine. And then the Zenith Tennyson is still in there. I got to get that out and find a place to put it in my house. So anyways, this is a now long video. I don't think too many people watch my videos anyways, but it's more of a personal video diary for myself anyways. We'll see if I ever get to doing something with this set, or if I find somebody that will restore it for me. That's about it for now.